Hello, everybody.
Hello.
This is the first one for the Multiverse Culture Club. Here with Tonics, G-Lane and Arpy Brown here for the first time in Cluj.
Yes.
Happy to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, exactly.
I'm Vladimir, he's Dragos, and we'll host this small chat about music and stuff like that. Hope you enjoy it, and let's start.
Yeah, so since this is a first for us as well, we were just thinking about, just having a casual conversation about, what makes us driven about music and, about just random stuff, I guess. Yeah, I guess we could maybe start with some rather cliche questions.
Okay.
Hi, when did you get into music, and how did this happen? I don't know if you could answer.
What form has the first touch of music?
You
go first? First thing was I think I was like 10, maybe. My parents made me play guitar, and so I just took like acoustic guitar lessons. And luckily, because it took me some time to get into it, but it was with a friend, and we always had lessons together, and because that made it a lot more enjoyable, I sort of pulled through. And then when I was probably like 13 or something, I got an electric guitar, and at the same time I kind of got into like 70s rock and stuff, and then it started making sense, because I was like, oh, now I can kind of like play what I actually like. And then from there it went on and on. Yeah, just took different routes, learned different instruments, started making different kinds of music. But that was kind of like, sort of late childhood was the starting point for me. Yeah.
Okay, so you actually have a background in playing instruments. That's how you started.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like making sort of like produced electronic music came later. I started off playing in like bands, playing like rock, indie, and then kind of more sort of like maybe a bit more sort of like, kinds of rock that experiment with electronics, and through that slowly got into like making more like electronic and dance music, probably more in my early 20s. I started that. Yeah, it was a journey to get there for sure. Yeah.
Nice one. And when you actually started playing instruments, was it a time when you were thinking that, oh yeah, I might actually end up doing electronic music, or you were just, you're just present in your moment, you weren't even thinking about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't even have remotely even listened to something like that back then when I started. Yeah, because I mean, I was a child, so probably didn't even really know like it existed in that sense. So no, back then it was, I think at first it was just my parents being like, why didn't you try something valuable? And then, and then from there getting into music, but being more in band music for many years as a teenager. And then only by the point that I actually started sort of like recognizing electronic music, being into it, then sort of like slowly going, I guess just naturally, like if you already make music and then you really get into this other kind of music, then you're sort of like, oh, I want to try doing that too.
Yeah, okay, you know what, I'm actually curious, do you remember if you could actually picture your very first interaction with electronic music?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so I grew up in Berlin, and obviously like electronic music is very present.
Yeah.
At least when you like slowly get to the age where you can go to clubs. So it's sort of like, I guess when I sort of my later teenage years, I think there were like a few bands that like built that crossover between like band music and electronic music really well. So I think like some of the first things that got me into the electronic side of things was probably stuff like Justice, Daft Punk, that sort of stuff, which is kind of like, you can see that, like, I think with Justice, like if you go to their gigs, you see that they're originally rockers. Like the whole aesthetic is like, it's like a biker gang or something. So I think that it was always like that for me, because I like started off being into, the first thing I was really into was hip hop, and then I found out about bands like Rage Against the Machine that like cross hip hop and rock. And then I through that got into rock, and then I found bands like Justice that cross rock and electronic music. Like, so that was always the journey. It was always these like intersections.
Okay, so it was just a matter of being exposed to, you know, live performances and
Yeah,
like really
and then
good bands
obviously
and-
going to club nights at first, then suddenly you're like, oh, that's this whole different thing. And I remember I went to sort of like, I mean, it must have been going on in the UK for a long time, but by the time that like dubstep got to Germany, I remember going to this, because at the time when I was like in my teenage years, it was all like minimal in Berlin. And I was never really into it that much. And then I went to
Now
this
it's
like
back.
drum and bass, and I was like, what is happening? Like, it's so mental. And I was kind of into it because like, I guess it was just like quite sort of like musical, and like the effect was just like in your face. Yeah, so that was then, I guess that opened it up more towards like the DJ side.
Yeah.
And like actually like, because I mean, if you go to like a Justice concert, it's still a concert.
Yeah.
It's still like there's someone on stage and like,
Performing.
there's still a crowd and everybody looks there. But then obviously if you're in a club, it's like a little bit.
Yeah, a different atmosphere. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. How about you?
My answer is shorter. But basically, I grew up in a family that they were musicians. My father was a musician, composer, famous composer in Venezuela. My grandma was teaching piano, so I grew up in this atmosphere. So I'm into the music from the beginning, since I'm very little. So after this, okay, I was trying to play some instrument. Then I quit. I don't want it, and then I was into different kind of experiment myself in a punk, in a hip hop, in a different kind of music. But yeah, my first experience with electronic, it was in New York when I was back and forth from Venezuela, and there, yeah, when I was studying, yeah, and I decided to be a DJ because I felt like, okay, I don't play any instrument, so let's try to be a DJ because I love music, I love to dance, so I love, yeah.
Okay, so maybe for you, DJing and the controller themselves also felt like an instrument in some
Yes,
way.
exactly. I'm just
Okay.
a frustrated musician, so let's be
Okay.
a DJ. Yeah, something like that.
I think it's interesting how both of you got into music through your parents. Like, is it ever a moment in your life when you look back at it and you're grateful for the fact that they have opened this?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, because at the same time it's different. Like you said that your parents were already musicians, and it was more like a natural flow. But then for you,
Exactly.
you said your parents actually told you like, yeah, you should pick up guitar lessons or like.
Yeah, mine aren't musicians. I mean, I think my dad like used to play in a band when he was a teenager for like a couple of years, but never really like continued. But yeah, I think they were just like, I think it'd be good for you.
Yeah.
How
Let's
you
try it out.
how you feel like the scene that you were involved back in the days helped you evolve in what you are now? Like back in the days, usually wasn't this music, so you got in touch with hip hop or stuff like that. How this helped you, and how does it recall that nowadays in what you play? Is it in a way?
I play the same that I was playing when I was a young, so it's something that for me is
Okay.
yeah. I'm a hip hop, soul, and house hard, and I don't know how to say, but yeah, I play the same music that I start when I start is the same music that I
Oh, nice,
still
nice.
play.
So nothing extra came like via or
Well,
like
yes, of course.
trends or-
No,
okay, no.
never, never.
never.
I was making rave, fancy rave with house music. So a little bit of drum and bass, but
Okay.
just like a touch between all my set. No, not that much. To be honest, I'm very hip hop person, and house for me is the same. It's 4/4.
Yeah,
So it's.
yeah, definitely.
That's my two kind of music that I'm for playing.
Yeah.
Then I listen a different kind of music at home. I'm very jazz person. I love soul. I love funk. So black music in general.
Nice to hear. How about you?
Well, how it's
If different types of music did influence you, like on the road, like to change something in what you're doing, or like it was straight for like the line of what you like and what you do.
Yeah, definitely. No.
Okay,
I mean,
so-
more just like having made music not like in different ways before. So like, because I guess like,
Yeah.
if you like play in a band, you write a song in a sense, like it comes
yeah.
to your head, and then you try and like, you know what your guitar sounds like. You compose the song in your head, and then you try and like realize it on the guitar and on vocals. And then, but then with producing music, I think often it's quite different. You sort of just like you sit and like you try stuff out, and like you don't necessarily know
Like
from the start
jamming,
what it
yeah.
sound
Exactly,
like.
exactly.
Yeah. So, but having done that in the past, you sort of just like writing on an instrument and like writing in my head.
Yeah, because you're a
So it was-
musician is
still do,
different. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
different
more
point of view,
DJ.
yeah.
Yes.
And I think, I think now the songs that I write are kind of like a blend between the two anyway. So like a blend between like production and using, loops, drum
Okay.
machines,
Yeah.
but then also like writing chords, writing melodies. And yeah, having done that back then, only that definitely helps.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, in your case, yeah. Me as a producer, yeah, I take everything that I listen at home, jazz, funk, soul, in my production. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's-
You know exactly what you want when you're in the
Yeah, I
studio,
know, I
think.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Because I'm very square. I don't want to touch anything else.
No, you're like,
But-
why don't we try this? And I'm like, I haven't thought about that. And then it sounds great.
Yeah, thank you. It
But
was for my
how
father.
about these thing? You obviously were, exposed to different types of genres and yeah, just music in general. But then I'm assuming it was a point in your life when you felt like, okay, this is the kind of music that I want to do, or at least at that moment in time, this is what intrigues me and this is what I want to pursue. Like how did that feel for you, and how did that passion for a particular type of music or I don't know, a particular type of sound, how did you define your sound when you first did it? I'm not sure if it makes sense.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think in my case it's like quite complicated to. It's naturally, that I feel influence in that kind of music, black music. So when I want to make music, this is the things that I came naturally in my head, and I buy with this, and and then I make the music with this vibe, no. But I don't know in general.
It has like changed. It always changes quite a lot for
Yeah.
me, like over the years. Like I don't think what I make now is. I think it definitely sounds different to what I made like
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Of course, he's a very old producer and more novel producer. I only have like 2 years and a half doing music because I never been like so much interested in do it because I was super confused. Okay, I want to do hip hop. I want to do house. I don't know if I want or not. Maybe not. I like to play. I'm very. I can say I'm a DJ. He's a producer and a producer because I wanted to experiment it also to do something different and can help me in my career. In my case, it's completely different. I feel the music from the beginning, but I don't have this kind of anxiety for make music.
yeah.
I like to make it. I like it and I enjoy it very much. But it's like completely different. Like him, he's a musician. He needed, So
Yeah, but I think it's like it's also kind of like a different way to think about music when you
Yeah.
make it.
yeah,
Like I feel it when we're like in the studio that you like you think about it from a DJ perspective,
exactly.
and it's like a different kind of like quality for sure. I think it also you can like sort of like see things differently. I think when you sort of like me, you just sort of like come from a background of just making music. You're able to like take a step back and like look at it more objectively sometimes, I think.
Yeah, you as a composer, you are more like you have to be more focused
and then
in
you
so
like
many,
the next day.
so many stuff. Yeah.
And right, interesting question, I think. How was the first touch with Tonics, and what's this history? Which was first, or what was the idea behind like getting involved with Tonics and the group, and also Capote and stuff like that? How was, when it was, and how it was, how folded?
You first. You
But
first.
we were talking about yours today. You got 2 years now, no?
I got 2 years. Yes. Of course, I know the label from before. I know Capote from Goma, so I was like surprised when I received the call of Capote one day, like, hey, someone give me your contact. We are looking for blah blah blah. Send me this, send me that, blah blah. And I was like, okay. I start to send all the stuff that he was asking me for, and then from I don't know, in a month I was in Berlin playing with them, just like that.
Yeah. It catches like
Because also I think he has a team behind him listen what I was doing, and so everybody was like, okay, she's cool, she's good, she's cool. So
he was
felt
hunting for the new Avengers, like
I felt blessed in that moment, because I was like, okay, that's cool, that's my opportunity to try to do something out from my comfort zone. So it was very nice. It was very nice, and now it's 2 years, and it was so quickly that it's like it was just today. Yes,
feels like
yeah.
It goes quick. I think I don't know how long exactly, maybe 3 years. I think it was just when I had just moved back to Berlin at the time. I can't remember how we met, but I also knew about the label before, so played. I think I played like, I don't know, some Coeo song.
Exactly same Capote and Coeo.
Yeah, and I think it was kind of like just COVID times, and I think we met, and because he's from a similar background, he's also like
musician.
Originally also like wasn't always like making like house and disco, but
Capote?
Yeah. Made like completely other stuff. So I think we just sort of like connected on that level.
He's the guy that was flowing with his life, with all the music and different.
So I think we just like, can't remember how, but just somehow met in Berlin, and then we like exchanged music, and I think it's like 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then I remember the first gigs that we were playing, that I was playing with them, were the very moment that like the lockdowns opened up. And
exactly.
So, like, the first one was in Berlin, and it was like everybody with masks. So it must. When was that? I don't know.
4 years.
4 years ago.
4 years. Yeah. Another life. That was some post-pandemic was another life. I think for everybody. Like
I don't. You don't have the like sometimes the feeling that when we was the pandemic, that really we were in this situation one day. It was like what the fuck,
it's like going
crazy.
through a portal.
Yes, exactly. And it was what happened? No, nothing. It's like what the fuck is.
I got like this week I found a jacket that I was wearing.
With mask?
With the mask inside. I was like, damn son.
I think this is a classic.
It was like, whoa, that was real. That was something. Nowadays we are just hoping for another one, because like everything is very rush, and staying just home felt good in a way. Was more chill.
I was actually reading some stuff about Tonics, and I think it was this interview with Capote when he was talking about how the audience in Berlin picked up the vibe of the label and of the Tonics jams so fast. He was saying that, from the very first 1 or 2 parties, the audience grew from like, I don't know, 600 to like more than 1,000 people. And like, he couldn't believe how, everyone in a city that was mainly about, hard techno and techno, how how everyone was so involved in this new type, not new type of sound, but something that was so different that you wouldn't normally think of.
I think the people was tired of the same shit.
Yeah. What do you think of that? Like, how do you think? This whole environment of hard techno influenced the
Flip.
the flip that you guys
100
did.
degrees, like everything. Totally.
Because
Yeah.
obviously it can be an opportunity in itself, to be different in an environment that is so, based on something,
Yeah, and I think that's what it was. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that there isn't like other stuff in Berlin that's doing like really like high quality disco and house, but like there is a big majority of like, and that I guess that's also when people travel to Berlin. Often it's because of like the image. It's like quite like dark and like
Very
techno.
dark, yes.
And then I guess also like trance now. But I think that was a big point that like there wasn't that much, like that many other parties that were doing that.
So there was a gap in the market.
I think there was a gap. Yeah, totally. Because obviously like there are people who love it. And maybe also, as I said, like, there was just that massive minimal wave and then like lots of like techno, lots of trance. And I think all these things just like trigger different emotions than like disco and house do, right? And like, I don't think, while it was like 90% techno and minimal in Berlin, like it's not like 90% of people didn't also want to hear other stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it was just like right time, right place, and I think there was like a craving.
Right.
Yeah.
And as a DJ, but also as a part of the audience yourselves, being on the dance floor, how would you describe the difference in terms of, I don't know, feel and emotion between what happens at a hard techno party, for example, and what happens at a Tonics jam?
You're gonna say it because we spoke about it earlier today. Go on then.
Me? No. A ver, let's see. To be honest, I'm not. I never been involved in the techno sense, and even I didn't wanted to go to any club to listen techno. So, I think the only thing that I can compare between one and the other is a part of the music is the dress code and all this stuff. No, if I see these people are like in a very dark and very like sad and very I don't feel like comfortable with this, so I prefer to see people more happy,
people smiling on the dance.
Exactly. So something that I always felt when I start to be a DJ, it was that I want to see the people smiling, crying, feeling in general. And when you see people like to go to that kind of party, I think that they are only going for, I don't know, to take to be honest, I don't know, because I'm not down into the, but I have friends that like techno and they're going to jump and they're going to take a lot of drugs and they're going for this reason. Maybe for that people, that kind of vibe that we feel with these different colors and good and blah, 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 whatever, they feel it with this kind of situation, So I don't know. I cannot say more than I love to be involved in the Tonics vibe, disco music vibe. I have friends that are promoters of very cool, very good parties that they are into this
scene.
Yeah, because at the end you want to keep all the problems behind, and enjoy something. I think you
The
don't
moment, yeah.
Yeah, you don't. In my case, I don't enjoy something if I'm going to listen techno in 145 BPM, and because I cannot move it. You're a dancer. You can move it with this kind of high
Sometimes
velocity.
it's hard even for me as
You have to jump. That's it.
Yeah.
So I don't. To be honest, I just can see in the point of view of how I feel. No. I feel reject.
Yeah, obviously it's a matter of
these
personal
things.
preferences, but that's what we were curious about, like how you specifically feel about this whole difference, and yeah, what is it that you want to make people feel when you're playing your music, you know?
I think my background came from Body and Soul. You know those parties in New York. They were in
Not sure. We had a Romanian band, Body and Soul. But
okay, no.
Yeah.
Body and Soul, it was a classic party with 3 DJs, famous and a very old school DJs that still are in the game. Danny
Okay.
Creevy, Joe Closell, and Laurent Garnier, Dios mío.
Laurent Garnier, okay.
Por favor. No, it's because I don't like him that much, but I'm so sorry,
But
sorry.
But he will play
Okay,
Afro
my
with
God.
you.
The final
Let's
episode.
go. Sorry, Laurent. No. I forgot the name of him because I hate him. But anyway, Joe Closell and Danny Creevy, they were my favorite ones. So when I start to be a party person, I start in that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of vibe that Tonics, make. It's exactly the same vibe. The people was taking drugs, yes. The people was taking ecstasy, yeah. But the people was completely, out of mind, but
Yeah.
dancing with ecstasy.
Yeah, but they were into the moments. They were-
Exactly.
yeah.
They really feel it. They really, were in the vibe, definitely. And I don't see this when I see that kind of atmospheres,
Yeah.
So then, no sé. Ay, Dios mío, se me olvidó el nombre.
I wanted to ask you at the dinner, but I thought it will be a really good opportunity to chat here about social media and nowadays of the use of the social media as an artist. I just saw this week on reel
Sorry,
with
François Kevorkian. Okay. François Kevorkian, Danny Creevy, and Joe Closell. It was like, oh my God, I cannot. How
Yeah.
can I forget this? Yeah. Continue,
Yeah,
sorry.
no problem. I saw a video about David Guetta explaining the difference between like DJs and performers, like what they do on the main stage. And this is caused mainly about social media and everything nowadays, that you need to put more up there for people to know you more, for them to like connect with you. How you feel like nowadays you use social media as a tool, or how you feel like you need to use it or stuff like that? How is your point of view regarding social media this time?
Yeah, and how do you
No
feel this
comment.
impacts your music and
comment.
your what you're doing?
That was
I mean, it is hard work, to be fair. Like, it does take it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of like resources,
energy.
energy,
Money.
Yeah. I don't know. My personal take is always like, I mean, it is what it is, and it comes with, it is hard work, but also at the same time, it obviously like enables you to do things that you weren't able to do before.
Yeah.
Like, sort of like more direct communication, and also just like putting out what you want to do without like having, I guess, before you'd have like press. As the primary thing,
managers, press,
you would need to
get the proof.
they would need to like it
Yeah.
before it could reach the world.
The world, yeah.
Whereas I guess now you can. I mean, how many people you reach with your social media is another question, but like,
Yeah.
at least it is, the tool itself is there, so you can.
Yeah.
So I think
you
that's
can use
not
it, yeah.
to be like underestimated as something.
It's not
that you can-
complicated.
Yeah.
It is complicated. It is nice that you can speak directly to people. I guess that's right.
You feel like it pays off?
What?
It pays off, like the energy and the investment of doing it. You feel like pays off in a way, like people are really more like connected with you, and you feel like them are connected with you, or is just like, okay, it's a thing that I need to do, but I don't feel like.
I think it comes
Pays
in,
off
it comes
in a
in
way.
waves for me.
Okay.
Sometimes you have a phase where you post things and people are really responding to it, and you see people commenting, you see people liking, you're like, I know these people, like they're friends, they're like other musicians that I really like, etc.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, clearly what I have just posted they have seen, and like there's a reaction, and this is nice. and then it feels like it pays off. But there's definitely also periods where you like,
Yeah.
you feel like, oh, I've really like put a lot of time into this, and you don't feel like you're getting that back. And sometimes you're like, oh, would have been nice to like maybe
Maybe do a track,
just like completely shut off and like
yeah.
just like make music for this time. I don't know. It's a double-sided thing, I think. But at the same time, I think it's sort of like, you know,
You gotta do
it is it is our reality.
Yeah, and you need to like
That's the point. That
and
is the reality.
There's no point
have
That's
to
the
adapt.
point. Is
like
there-
no point not interacting with it. I think it you can take a lot from it if you do it right, and if you maybe also don't let it stress you out too much in the negative moments.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you just got to be like, okay, fine, because also like whoever you speak to is having the same struggles, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody's always like,
Yeah.
To be honest, I prefer to live without this. Thank you.
yeah.
there we go.
Feel you. Yeah, yeah. It's always a balance between this and this. I think like nowadays when you are okay, you have this tool and you can like post like stories and stuff like that, helps people like connect with you. Okay, I was drunk last night. Now I'm like dizzy and stuff. I need to do this. And if you really do it, people are okay, I was drunk yesterday also like him, and it connects in a way like even
Like you're a normal person like me, no?
yeah. We are doing the same stuff, but different positions. But we are like
Same humans.
Yeah. We are humans at the end of the day, and you can relate to this with them. You know, like that's my take.
Yeah,
on
you
that.
don't only get the super polished
Yeah,
version of an
Yeah.
artist that maybe you did in the past. Yeah. Not only the one that was filtered through.
yeah. Just
I have one more question related to this digital environment. That's more of a personal curiosity kind of question. So obviously you went to a lot of parties as a DJ, but also probably as part of the audience, and you noticed people nowadays waiting for the drop, not to feel it, but to fucking film it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then to me usually is this question again, both as a event organizer, but also as part of the audience, like what is it that I could do to make people be more into it and to make them catch the drop with their body, so to speak, instead of their phones? So then I guess what I'm trying to ask is like how, I don't know, do you think is there a solution to solve this problem? Or I don't know, should we just accept it and I don't know, how do you navigate this kind of stuff? I'm honestly, I'm not even sure if you're actually dealing with the same situations, because I noticed on the Toy Tonics Instagram page that
this is not kind of music. This is Toy Tonics.
Yeah, and there's
really good, cool post. Really cool, on point.
But then again, if you happen to have this sort of situation where you play and a lot of people they just stay on their phones, how do you feel? And if there is a solution that you thought of, what is it? How do you manage this?
I mean, okay, so as a DJ, I don't know of a solution. Like in that, like
Another
while you're playing,
pandemic.
lots of people have their phones out. Not sure.
You just keep doing what you're doing, you're right, Laura?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of like hard to say. I mean, because I think again, it's like two-sided, right? Like on one hand, it's like, okay,
Exposure, but then
yeah, and also I guess people are taking out their phones because they're like, oh, this is really cool right now, and I want to like capture this. But then at the other, I mean, I can sort of see both sides. But I guess like clubs, there's lots of clubs who just don't have, like, they have a no phone
in
policy.
Romania there is no club.
In Romania there isn't. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's like I mean, to be fair, it's only in very specific territories, right? I mean, in Berlin, it's really common.
Yeah, I think in Amsterdam too.
In Amsterdam too, maybe. Yeah.
Because the important is the
Fabric.
music. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
We want to try this. It's on our mind from the start to try this, but it's kind of odd to do this.
Yeah, it's hard to force people, like,
people like not capturing the moment, and in a way to like constrain them not to do that. You know?
Yeah, but they're They live in. Yeah, sorry.
I'm feeling it. Like I'm also doing sometimes this, and I'm like losing it, doing it.
Yeah.
You're losing that
The moment,
special moment.
that moment, by just doing the capture, that I will keep the moment, but I'm not living the moment. I'm keeping without living it.
And then you erase.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's
Maybe
just,
maybe you erase.
But then sometimes, so let's say like we play together or something, and
Sorry?
like you're DJing, and there's a real vibe in that moment, and I see that and like, oh, it'd be really nice for G to have like
that moment. Yeah.
So I think in that sense, like sometimes like it is also then like, okay, let's grab this quickly. And then she has a really cool video at the end where she's like, oh, like it's nice to, because obviously like you're in that moment at your DJ and it's great. And then being able to like see it afterwards from a different angle is like, oh, nice. So I kind of get that too. But then also, I don't know, I'm always a bit split about like implying a rule that's like, no, you're not allowed to, because okay, so I'm from Berlin, and like obviously Germany is famous for just like rules, right?
Yeah. We know.
And it's like it's just quite tiring, And at the end of the day, you're sort of like, especially when you're on like a night out, like I understand the phone rule because it's also, I guess like it also comes from a different thing where like, I guess, I don't know where it originated exactly, but also in Berlin, there's a lot of like fetish parties and stuff where you're obviously not allowed to like, film and stuff like that. It sort of makes sense just from like a privacy point of view. So I get that. But then sometimes also you go on a night out at like a sort of like a regular party, as in like not a fetish one, or and you get there and there's so many rules, and you're like, oh, it's literally like a night out, and like the whole point is that you're sort of like switching off and you're relaxing. So yeah, sometimes I'm like, go easy on the rules, like just let people
be.
Like I understand you're trying to create a situation and stuff. Like I get that, and also often really good parties are parties that are like considered. Somebody's clearly like put thought into it. But sometimes I feel like there's too many rules and stuff.
Yeah. Regarding parties, I have a question. Like from the start, when I pointed this moment, and the people, I wanted to ask a question. Every people that we'll have at the series, what's your favorite club / party all around the world? Like maybe somebody will come tonight to the party. Now after that, we'll see this. Oh, okay. I like you guys. And you recommend something else, like that club or that party or that festival, and maybe someday they will see, okay, let's try it. Well, where do you like to go and party? Not to play also, but go just party.
Which clubs?
Club, festival. Where do you feel like home and partying?
I spoke a lot.
Because no comment. Social media stuff and the new generation stuff is not my. Before it was beautiful and I was less tired than now. So, I came from the MySpace area. You know, the era of MySpace. You didn't know. No one. It's just one small picture and 12 minutes of mix. So the people knew you because for your taste and your vibe and your sense and your song. That's it. Now I have to show to the people what I eat, or when I have to take my dog to brush my teeth in front of my phone. I hate that. So take a lawyer because I have comment from this. But what was the question?
Where do you like to go out yourself?
Okay, in Barcelona, mostly if I'm going out, I'm going to Sound It. This is a day life festival. Okay. I love day life parties and festivals. And Sound It always is good. The lineup always is good. Now the La Paloma is a place, very old place in Barcelona, very old one, that now is making a very good lineup every weekend. So live band and DJs, we're gonna have a Theo Parrish 5 hours of set and that kind of thing.
Okay.
It's a very nice place. We're gonna have a Tonic jam tomorrow there.
Okay.
So if I'm going up, I'm going there because I know that the DJ is gonna be always good.
Okay. So straight on the point.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm going
yeah.
straight to the point. I'm not going out just for going
not
out.
risk-
I
yeah,
want to keep my.
Yeah, if I want to
my
go, I go.
skin,
Yeah.
I want to sleep, and I want no. And if I'm going out, to be honest, I'm not a party person. I love Cala Festival. I told you before.
Yeah.
I really like this festival. We out here also festival from England. I really like this festival. To be honest, if I'm going to the States, I like the small promoters, small parties.
The more intimate one.
Yes, exactly. I don't like the masses. I don't like the mainstream stuff. If I'm playing, it's okay. I think one part of that I'm being a DJ because I was very shy. I'm still shy, but now I grew up, so I'm trying to to manage. But I prefer to be behind.
Yeah, behind.
If I'm going to play in a Primavera Sound or Sonar or Mel Festival or a big festival, I prefer to be behind.
Yeah.
But if I have to choose a festival, I really like Cala.
Okay. You feel like you can like do a big festival, you can like engage with that crowd, or like you
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
I always I can be engaged with. I'm completely different when I'm playing. Different.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
actually-
a grumpy person when I'm not playing.
But what is the difference between playing for a smaller audience and then playing for a huge fucking festival?
I think it's not a quantity of it's not a problem of quantity, it's of quality. I can feel the same in a big crowd if they come in to listen, especially music, if they come in to make the party to be I'm not going maybe to connect with all of them, only the people that can see that is moving in my vibe. So for me, it's the same, because also you can go in a small club with 300 person, and also there are no involved of the vibe. So you have to work. I don't think there is a difference between
So
one.
it's more
for
of
me.
more of a matter of a continuous exchange between you and the audience, and them giving you back their energy, and then just
Yeah, always must to be like back and forth, no, between the
exactly.
audience and the DJs, no. But I like to play in a festival. Of course, always is cool, but I think it's the same. Depends of the vibe of the crowd. 1,100 is exactly the same. I can play in a house of someone for a private party, and no one is a music,
Yeah.
But if the people wanted to go to dance, they're gonna dance in around 1,000, around 100. I don't think there is a
Right.
quantity of.
How about you?
I think for going out, I've never really enjoyed like huge parties. I think it's nicer. Same goes for concerts actually. Like it's nicer when for club nights. I mean, it doesn't. I really like a sort of like sweaty small basement
Okay.
party, but it's also fine when it's like 500-600 venues. But like, of course, there's like these monster clubs that are like 3,000, 5,000, and I think it starts getting like a little bit anonymous, and it's
not that personal
not as
anymore.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
In terms of like specific places, I don't know. I mean, in Berlin, I've always really, and I also like a day party as long as it's outside.
Yes.
I don't understand a day indoor party at all, but a day summer outdoor party is nice. There's a place, I don't know, specific places, like there's a place called Heideglühen. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's
No.
really, really nice. It's also like,
In
I mean,
Berlin.
it's got a big outdoor area, but like the dance floor is maybe like, I don't know, guess like 300 people. I really like when clubs have layers.
Okay.
There's like a dance floor at the bottom, and then there's people. As a DJ too, like that's why I also like when there's like people in the booth behind and stuff. When those moments where like wherever you look, there's people, and it's not just like lots of people looking at the DJ, but there's people like here behind the DJs, and there's people like up there, and like everybody's sort of like giving energy, like to each other.
Really nice,
So that's like it there, and it's also like that sometimes. In like Panorama Bar, for example, I think that's so nice because of course,
you are
it's like
in
great lineups.
Yeah, you are in there.
But you're down there, and then there's like people standing up there, and like so those sorts of clubs, which are sort of like not massive, but there's people wherever you look.
Yeah, it's like it makes you feel like you're literally at the core of the party. You're the core of it,
and it's almost like a communal experience because sort of like, it's not just people getting hyped on the DJ, but it's people getting hyped on like everybody.
Yeah.
But then on the complete opposite side, that's closed many years ago, unfortunately. But when I was studying at that time, I don't know if maybe we studied around the same time in the UK, but in London there was a club called Plastic People. This was like early 2010s. I don't know when it closed. Maybe closed like 2014 or something like that. And the whole thing there was that the sound was incredible. They had great lineups, but it was pitch black, like completely. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face like that. And I was there a few times, and it was amazing. Now thinking back, like I have no idea how they did it because like you literally couldn't see anything. Yeah. So like it would be a club that would be full of people, and it would sound incredible. But if you were like here, like I wouldn't be able to tell because it's like too loud. And at the same time, I can't see you.
Yeah, maybe that's what people actually enjoyed. You know, this feeling of not being both figuratively and literally not seen. And yeah.
And you were like complete, like all there is music. You know. So it's like it's pretty cool.
I was thinking maybe to segue into a more targeted part of the discussion for the remaining, 5-10 minutes, to just talk about the role of a label, of a community for emerging artists, because again, this is what we're trying to build here with Multiverse. We're trying to create a space, both physical and mental space, for the upcoming electronic music artists, local especially, so that they can create more, they can exchange ideas, they can connect with other artists, not necessarily musicians, but also visual artists and so on. So how was it like for you to become part of a community? I'm not sure if Tonics was it the first community that you became part of, the first label, or were you part of groups before that helped you in your development as an artist, or how is it for you? Like what is it that being part of this kind of groups helped you with in your development?
Okay, I think like Teutonic, in my case, Teutonic was the first time that I was involved like in a crew. No, I'm like Barcelona. Also, there is a promoters called Drop Society Dance. I start to work with them from the beginning, but mostly I'm moving by my own. But I was a big part of them. I'm still part of them, but I think something more like solid is a Teutonic. It's my first time. Yeah, and it's a big family. I love it. It's a different experience for me. So I enjoy at the moment. I enjoy so much to be there. So even because we are completely different, we are in a same community, but at the same time we are completely different. Sam is completely different. He's completely different. I'm completely different. But at the same time, we can
together to a
match.
Same
we can
cause.
match. Yeah, So I think this is cool one of the things that I feel like proud that being there is this, is the opportunity to know that kind of person, and feel so far and so close at the same time. So it's very cool. I think it's
So just
Yeah.
the human connection. The
yeah,
human touch.
exactly. It's very cool. As you said before, you like to see people like eating or whatever, and now you can see also that people like him that I was respecting that much as a producer, and then being with him all the time, like playing, being.
Yeah.
I couldn't see that. I could see that he's exactly the same like me,
Yeah.
And then it's
and
just.
then the energy, the aura,
I have
like,
more experience than him, but he's better producer than me, and so
It's not a
yeah.
contest. We are
And-
in it together, and
Exactly,
we
and
share it. We share
exactly. And
experience.
together we can fusion
can
everything. Yeah,
evolve together. Like
Yeah.
everybody, we can take
Yeah.
something from somebody and like embrace it. Like in a
At the
way.
beginning, when I started to produce and I was study and everything, he helped me a lot. So because I choose him for that reason, because I respect them before to being in Tonics. So for me was.
You know me before.
See? You didn't know that. Why I choose you? Huh? I know.
So then, on this note, in an ideal world, what do you think would be the role of a music label when it comes to, developing artists? Like, what do you think a music label should do? Because nowadays, we have independent music labels, and then you have the big players, and usually the big players are very profit driven, and I've never been part of a big label, but I've heard stories and stuff like that, and a lot of people talk about how they just don't really care about your artistry, but more like your profit. So
Yeah. So I also work in record labels at the same time, so it's I sort of get to see. I think labels can be different things. So a label like Tonics, the thing is, I think Tonics, for example, is quite a lot more than a label. Like being a label is only a part of it. So much of it is the events, and it's kind of like a crew. There's like, a crew of artists.
Yeah.
The intention of Platonic, I think.
Yeah,
was,
so it's a bit, being a label is only a part of it. And there's also like labels who are maybe just as a label, like purely as a label, much
Business,
bigger, release much more music, have been standing for way longer, but purely focus on being a label. And I think they're like very different setups, because some labels do their events and they take artists out to play there, and like they become part of a community. And then there's other labels that are less, I guess, personal like that, but it's more like they enable artists to do things that they wouldn't, like financially, for example. They're like, okay, we can give you time to like go to the studio to finish off this album, to like take time off work for a year, so you can like purely focus on that. So there's like different values in it, I think. So yeah, it really depends. And also, I think often depends on how old a label is.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of labels that have been around since like the 90s and before, and they'll be set up completely differently, and they have a completely different mentality. And then there's these labels that have been set up over the last 10 years, like Tonics, like, I don't know, Rhythm Section, like different sort of labels like that, it's putting out music is just part of what they do. It's more like about like building a community.
I think there is more labels that try to that I think that they start because they were like a group of friends, that they were very good producers or whatever. Like, like Ibadan Records from the States, they were all friends. So they opened it to do to put their own music in something. At the end they had a community also, no? More underground, more behind the scenes. Because we can start again with the conversation about now we have to follow some new wave of see the sense, no? Before it was different, but I think it always were some labels that they did as a family too. No, like now, no, I know we profit, but there were a lot.
I think that's the case for Multiverse too. I mean, I'm not sure if you
totally.
identify it as a label, but it's actually more like a crew, like a group of friends.
Exactly.
So
we want the same thing. Everybody plays like different kind of music. It's not about the music, it's about what we want together and what we like want to build together and like help each other do everybody's thing. It's not at the end it's about
it's only one passion that you share.
That's the main driver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have only 2 more questions.
Let's stick with one.
Let's stick with one. Okay. I started with a cliche one. I'm gonna end with a cliche one too.
I want to finish with the cliche.
After all these years, what keeps you excited still about playing music, producing music, making music?
Who's gonna start?
What?
Who's gonna?
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like making music itself is always. I think that's always gonna be. Like, I'm always gonna be inspired to do it, and I'm always gonna want to do it. Just because it's really fulfilling. It's really fun. It's really like great to like create something.
Yeah. To express it.
Exactly.
And then like be able to like hear back it and it's like, oh, like yesterday
I made this.
Yesterday like this didn't exist and I didn't know it would, and now I'm like, oh, I like this. But there's obviously like so much around it also that's like, some of it is also really fulfilling, like just in terms of like being an artist, being a DJ, like trying to
Bueno.
trying to, because you don't know, well, I think some people do. I don't want to be like permanently just sat in a studio. Like I think like the whole like playing out, like seeing people connect to things and stuff, like is a big part of it. But getting there comes with a lot of hard work. So I think that's the part where like sometimes like you need the reward every now and again to be like, oh yeah, this is why I do this.
You need to remember yourself, basically, to remind yourself. Yeah,
exactly. A lot of it is community, I think. So like being able to like tour around with people like G and stuff, and it's just like, I think if I was to do this all like completely alone, it would be much more draining and probably much less fun. But then also, I don't know, I think things need to always, for me, things always need to feel like they are sort of like developing and changing. If I now felt like what I'm doing right now is exactly the same that it was 3 years ago, that's probably when it would feel like a little bit loopy and a little bit tiring. So I think it's that for me, like just like seeing that like
to create that.
enjoying the creation itself. B, seeing that like other people enjoy it too, and then C, sort of like having that community where like you're being surrounded by other people who also like doing it. Because I think being a DJ, but also like making electronic music, like being a solo artist can be, you work alone quite a lot.
Yeah, so you basically need to feed off each other's energy and passion. Yeah. Right.
That's what I think.
We have also some stuff for you. We tried it because it's a birthday. The presents today is the presents are for you. I did pick 2 records, 2 for each, one hip hop and one house. And he will give you the really the really big surprise that is like
Yeah. So
Shirts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
it's the Casa Rosa. I bought some vinyls from Berlin, and that's house, funky house music.
Anna, you told me before.
Yeah, I told you, yeah. And the other one is a hip hop record. I thought it's really.
Okay, it's the daddy Eric Morillo. Thank you. Yeah.
And the main attraction and the main surprise is the t-shirts.
yeah, our
It's the new branding, and also the back of the t-shirts. It's like a poster that.
really good friends from Smash Studios.
Yes, big up Smash Studios that did this,
Super cool.
and it's like a poster.
Yeah, you have a lot of Easter eggs.
I love that.
It's like
Wait, Owen Wilson. I've got Owen Wilson. On
yes,
the already.
it's a poster that we did like it's with a story there with the Big Bang and everything, and the new merchandise with the new concept that is called Multiverse Culture Club.
Yeah, it was a beautiful coincidence because their style of design is really similar to what
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys doing at Tonics. So they were like, guys, please let us do the t-shirts and
It's something to have, and when you look back, hope it will bring a smile. And thank you for accepting everything, and thank you for being here with us. It was a really pleasure.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
inspiring, guys.
Epic. I'm going to wear the t-shirt always.
So it's a take. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.